Good evening and salutations, my Days of Lives fans. I'm gonna be honest, I actually enjoyed this episode today. Um, you know what? Let's start off with Ben and Johnny for a minute. So Andre comes in, and Ben is all like, "Oh, you gotta sit there and let us out. You gotta let us out." And Johnny's like, "That's not Tony. That's Andre." And of course, it takes him a minute to be like, "Oh, what are you talking about? Andre's dead. This, that, and the third." I'm like, "Bro, you got the devil coming after your child, and you can't believe that Andre came back from the dead." Like, seriously. Um, and it's kind of a recurring theme when I start talking about EJ for a minute, but because at some point EJ's like, "Oh, what are you talking about? Andre's dead," and I'm like, "So the devil comes back in town, but you're dismissing that." Okay, sure. Um, so after he realizes that it's Andre, which I'm gonna be honest, it's like the wheels in his head is turning slowly. Andre's like, well, they're talking for a little bit, and Ben is like, "Listen, I gotta get out of here. I gotta sit there and save my child, my mother, the mother of my child, and everything like that." I'm sitting there thinking, why in the hell would he just let you go? What, out of the kindness of his heart? Really? Because I'm pretty sure you probably dealt with him at some point before. Was he ever really kind? Come on, bro, really? But I'm just like, alright, anything? All you gotta sit there and do is kill Johnny. Kill Johnny, you can go. And, it's the devil's word or whatever. Johnny's like, yo, you can't be serious, right? He's not gonna let you go. So Andre's like, alright, I'll give you a taste of freedom. He takes off the chains. And Ben runs to the door. Well, that doesn't work. So Ben tries to fight Andre, and that doesn't work. So at this point, Andre convinces him. Well, Andre tries to start convincing him to kill Johnny. Oh, you don't really have much of a soul. You're gonna go to hell probably anyway. I mean, this is for your child, this, that, and the third. And of course, Johnny's snitted like, nah, bro, you can't do it. You can't do it. And at one point, it looks like Andre convinced Ben to kill Johnny, which I'm going to be honest, I didn't think he actually would. And of course, he gives him his weapon of choice, which is a necktie, and I started laughing my ass off. So he puts the tie to Johnny's neck. And he's like, I can't do it. Sierra saved my soul, this, that, and the third. And at this point, Andre's like, I can't with you, Bang. He's like, I can't with you. So he puts him back up on the shackles or whatever, and he's like, well, listen, you don't really have much use for us anymore. So I'm just like, well, I mean, I'd sit there and kill you. Which is odd, because I'm like, you try to get Johnny. I mean, you try to get Ben to kill Johnny because you didn't want to get your hands dirty. But now, like, okay, sure. I doubt that's gonna actually happen, but okay, whatever. Now, EJ's sitting there trying to call Johnny, and he's getting nothing but voicemails. And Susan comes in. Susan is a very interesting character because Susan, in a lot of ways, comes across as a plot device. She really does come across as a. I mean, granted, since they got the whole supernatural element in there, you got to find some sort of way to move the story a little bit faster. And Susan just happens to come in and be like, oh, Johnny's in danger. Johnny's in danger. And, she starts trying to have one of her premonitions. And at first she's like, oh, Tony, it's Tony that's behind it. Tony, because she looks at the letter and she's like, that's not Johnny's handwriting. I can feel the energy. I'm like, wow, that's just so convenient that you can just feel the energy off of that letter. That's just so whatever. Again, she's a plot device. But then she grabs the letter and she's all like, "Oh well, it's Tony." And then she's like, "No, because I think EJ called Tony." And then she's like, "No, it's Andre." And at this point, EJ's like, "No, Andre's dead. Okay, he's died. You're working yourself up. You need to sit there and go to sleep." I'm like, "Bro, why are you sitting there dismissing her? We all know that you were framed because the devil, took control of Bella. But you can't believe that she's having a premonition about Andre coming back from the dead. Like, really? This is a part where this is a problem when you start putting in supernatural stuff and then you start dumbing down people and dumbing down their logic. You know that there's such a thing as supernatural, stuff that's in this world. You know about that because of Marlena. And like it's just like, how is he so dismissive to Susan Banks in her premonitions, especially about Andre coming back from the dead, but yet you're totally accepting the fact that, the devil framed you. You're okay with that. So it's just like, what? So he sends her upstairs and she is looking around. She sees Johnny's suit and then she puts it with her so she can go to sleep or whatever. I guess she's trying to get some sort of energy vibe off of it or whatever. And she has a dream that she confronted Johnny. This is when Johnny so-called made her forget and go back, went back to Memphis. So now she has a dream that, oh yeah, it was Johnny that did that. I'm like, okay, I mean that's cool, but Johnny's not possessed anymore. So, and on top of that, EJ's not believing you, but I guess we're gonna sit there and find it out on Friday. So Bella sees Jan Spears on one of her couches or one of her chairs, and she's like, Sean, what in the hell is she doing here? Flips out. Sean tries to explain, it's her medical condition. She has to be on bed rest. It's really dangerous in the prison and things of that nature, and warden signed off on it. And the only, because Bella, first of all, Bella was like, why is she here? And of course, Sean's like, well, the judge, the only way she can sit there and be released if it's under a cop supervision. And one of the things that I said, I don't know if I said it in the video, but I was sitting there saying was, well, if that was the case, I might have said it. But in any case, what I was sitting there thinking was, why do you not give her a heads up? Why do you not give Bella a heads up that she was going to be staying with you? You know what this idiot logic is? You know what this idiot's response is? Oh, I didn't think you was going to be still living here. You're living with your parents and this, that, and the third. I'm like, bro, if she was living with her parents and she found out because you didn't tell her, how do you think that's going to make her feel? I sound like a broken record at this point. I really sound like a broken record at this point. I say this a lot in my GH reviews. And sometimes I say it in my um, B&B reviews. But my point is, I say this phrase a lot. And unfortunately, I have to sit there and say it again. As far as, screw it. Logic and common sense versus plot. Okay? You're in this whole mess because you didn't sit there and communicate with your wife. You let out a dangerous sociopath that you two have been dealing with since high school. Okay? You didn't tell your wife about the fact that you slept with Jan Spears. You would think that at this point he would learn his lesson. Okay? Because, yeah, Bella's angry. Okay? But you know what else Bella is? A mother. And on some level, regardless of how much she can't stand Jan Spears, Jan Spears is pregnant. She's a mother. Okay? There's a certain energy, okay, that she would understand. But you didn't even bother to give her the opportunity to deal with that, to process that. Yeah, she would have hated it. And she still may be upset, but you didn't even bother to sit there and give her a heads up. Your thing was, oh, I didn't sit there and think we were living here anymore. But it's like you can't be this stupid. And that's the thing. Sean is not this stupid. But plot. Plot overrides all of that. Plot overrides logic, it overrides common sense. And so after a while, she's like, I'm not dealing with this, I'm out. Now, EJ's on the phone talking to someone. I don't remember who. And Bella she doesn't even sit there and say hi. She just goes straight to the bar and just pours herself a drink and just starts drinking. And EJ hands it the phone and he's just like, kind of early to be hitting the sauce. Yeah, it's not good news, is it? And so, Bella gives him an update on Jan Spears and everything like that. And the one thing that EJ did sit there and say was he understood where Sean was coming from as a father. To want to sit there and protect your child, you would move heaven and earth. Um, but, she's still pissed off about the fact that he didn't sit there and say anything. He didn't communicate once again. Um, Bella's like, is everything all right with Johnny? And EJ's like, oh, well, mother has in her head that Johnny's in danger, and I'm like, I can't. Sierra's losing it, and Jake comes over, and Sierra at first she's like, yo, have you seen Ben? I'm really worried. Yada yada yada. She calls the cops, and even though it's been less than 24 hours, they're gonna sit there and look into it. Well, with this being said, she is coming across the worst case scenarios in her head. She's like, oh, well, I went to sleep and, Ben went to sleep right after. Maybe, he was tired and he got into a car accident, this, that, and the third. And it's just going wild. Now, Jake tries to calm her down. And Jake is like, all right, let me just leave. But with that being said, Sarah's like, could you stay with me? And so Jake tells her to, just to get her mind off of things, because, Sierra's like, you got distracted with something. Jake tells her about the vivid dreams that he was having with Johnny. And of course, Sierra sits there and dismisses it like, oh, well, it was really Bella, this, that, and third. She's not really buying the whole thing. Meanwhile, while this whole thing is going on, I think Sierra leaves to go somewhere. I don't exactly remember where. But around this time, you got Ali Adlam, um, gonna go and see Kristen Maddox. And now, Allie's plan is not necessarily to kill Ben, but it's to make it look like Ben is killed. And so, you know, um, Christian's like, well, how am I going to get out of here? And, Allie's like, oh, don't let this little blind, figure whatever fool you. She turns off the lights. And then when Christian turns around and looks at Allie's eyes, realize that you're not really talking to Allie at this point. But hey, it's a chance to, get revenge on Ben. Now, one of the things that I did find really interesting was that there was a point where Christian was like, listen, I'm not, like, there's certain lines I don't cross. I'm not harming Sierra's child. I'm a father. And I felt that to be very interesting because even a serial killer like him, know that there's certain lines that he wouldn't cross. I say that because on General Hospital, you had this paparazzi that came at this character named Sasha in a way where I felt like it was crossing the line. Seeing how Sasha's child passed away. And he said something to her to goad her, as far as, oh, you're losing it because of your child, this, that, and the third. And I was like, whoa. It takes a certain soulless creature to come at somebody like that. I know that paparazzis could be bottom feeders, could be parasites, but this was going even lower than that. And so I found it really interesting when Christian was like, yo, listen, I'm not harming a child. Like, there's a line that I'm not crossing. And I'm just like, damn, when a residential serial killer of Salem has more morals and scruples than the soulless creature that is a paparazzi on General Hospital, there's a problem. There's an imbalance in the universe. Anyway, Allie gets him out. Christian, knocks on the door. Jake answers, and Christian just kind of walks on in like he owns the place. And at first, Jake is like, he didn't really recognize him. He was like, oh, yeah, now I know who you are. You're the guy who, kidnapped Sierra. And, Christian's like, yeah, whatever. Next thing you know, Allie knocks him out. Now, Allie's like, you know what, listen, he wasn't part of the plan, but we're going to use you anyway. So, Sierra gets back, sees Christian, is like, yo, what is this dude doing out of jail? And then, Christian, moves his body, whatever. And at this point, Sierra thinks that Ben is dead because, the devil made Jake look like he was Ben. Because, he can do that. Oh, his powers and just how convenient they are. I feel like that's about it. Like I said, this episode was good. I enjoyed this episode. Um, that's the thing though. Like with Susan Banks, she is a plot device, and it's the same thing with the devil. Because as you know, moving forward, we're gonna wind up getting EJ and hooking up with Belle. And this is all because of the devil. The devil is there as a plot device to sit there and, break up these couples and mix them around and things of that nature. Now you got Jake and Ava probably going to wind up hooking up. You got Nicole and Rafe being together like the fans wanted. And you got Bella and AJ hooking up because, well, in what universe would Bella normally hook up with EJ? Let's think about that for a minute. Sean and Bella has been together for a hell of a long time. And I feel like this is a way to kind of mix things up and, shake things up and make things interesting, things of that nature. And it's a perfect opportunity to put characters with other characters that they normally wouldn't be with. So, when I sit there and look at the devil and the storyline and everything like that, it's like all he is a plot device. Yeah. Anyway, I feel like that's about it. So with that being said, I'm going to go. I want to thank you for watching. Be safe. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. And I'll see you in the next video.